Hello, everybody. We need to have a little chat, but first of all, hi. If you're new here, my name is Alyssa. I am 34 years old, currently based in Tennessee, and I was on a journey to invest as much as I possibly can this year, but I am going to discuss that in a second. But I am using YNAB here to budget my first paycheck of September and make some little budget changes that I'm going to talk about. But first of all, let's just go over my income that I am assigning this week. So I got my normal paycheck. This is my gross paycheck, $15.50. I made some interest in my high yield savings account. I PetSat over the weekend and I made $100. Thank you to whoever used my link in the description below to open an upgrade bank account. I got a $50 bonus and they got $200. So thank you very much. And then I also got cash back on one of my Chase cards they offer cash back offers on things that I buy on a day-to-day basis, like gas and groceries and stuff like that. So I made $142. And this is just a note for myself that I had to pay my Google storage fee. I pay an annual storage fee for Google. Anyway, so my budget's looking a little crazy again. This has become a theme for me because if you missed my last couple of videos, I had a life change, a really exciting life change. I am now in a relationship. I have a boyfriend, and that is not what has kept me from budgeting on camera. In fact, I have sat down and recorded videos every week the past month, but I only posted, I think, one last month. And it hasn't been completely for a lack of time. It's actually mostly due to like an analysis paralysis of what I wanted to do moving forward with my finances, and also a little bit about my living situation. So if you're new here, I currently live with my parents, and I've been living with them for almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years in January. And the goal at first, I was only supposed to live with them until I had just ended a relationship and I was paying rent in another state. And I moved in with my parents to not have to pay rent twice, basically. So I moved in with them to save money. And the goal was to move out once that rent ended. And then I didn't have to pay 2 rents anymore. Well, then about a year and a half ago, I discovered the world of personal finance on YouTube and realized that I felt at least very behind for my age and my financial situation. So I decided to stay living with my parents longer to take advantage of the being rent-free and their generosity. And also, I'm never going to get this time back with them again. You know, I wanted to take advantage of living with them and giving them my time, spending time with them while we are all the youngest that we'll ever be. You know, we'll never get this time back. So it's been really great. Well, once I got my finances to a place where I was comfortable to move back out on my own, I wanted to do that. I wanted to start looking for apartments this summer. That was the goal, to be moved out by fall and living out on my own. And the reason for that was, first of all, like, I can't live with my parents forever. Or, I mean, I could, but I don't want to. I prefer to be out, and, you know, I just feel like I grow more as a person independently, whether that's completely just actually living on my own or living with a partner and not with my parents. Because when you live with your parents, you kind of, or at least for me, I sink back into this subconscious state of like being their kid, you know, and especially living rent-free here, it's kind of like I feel obligated to hold up my part of the household. Of course, I don't want to be a complete burden, a complete leech. You know, I hold up I take responsibility in the chores around the house. I cook dinners. You know, I don't want to be a complete leech here. But also, I feel this obligation to, like I said, spend time with them while I'm here. And so I suppress my own need for like alone time or pursuing hobbies that would get me out of the house or doing social things. And, a few months ago, that also meant I wanted to move out because I felt like I wouldn't be able to pursue a dating life living with my parents. So then everything changed this summer because I somehow got a boyfriend. And so I'm now living more of the life that I wanted to live by moving out. So now my priorities have kind of shifted to where I'm realizing that I don't necessarily need to move out anymore to grow in the ways that I wanted to grow. And also, the end goal with my boyfriend is to eventually live together. And, we're not rushing into anything. We haven't had the discussion of what that would look like and what the timeline would look like. But I was kind of in this state in the last month of this analysis paralysis of like, do I move out? Do I sign a year lease and go ahead and do that? Because that was my plan. Do I just make the decision to stay living with my parents and eventually move in with my boyfriend at a later time? Like, what's the right decision for me? And after discussing it with everyone involved, my boyfriend and my parents, I have decided for now that it would make more sense logistically and financially to just go ahead and stay with my parents and continue doing what I'm doing, saving money and investing and everything. But the thing about that is, for the last few months, I've been feeling kind of like a little bit more of like a money scarcity mindset. And I've been feeling kind of gross about that. Like, my whole goal this year was to invest as much as I possibly can, right? And I've been doing that by giving myself a set amount of money per week to spend on myself, guilt-free, however I want. And then, of course, paying for my essential living expenses and whatever else, saving a moderate amount. And everything above those needs and wants, I would put into investing. And it was working out great. Like, it did work out really great. And I'm on track to invest $50,000 this year. But the thing is, I knew that was unsustainable. And so that's why that was only my goal this year. I just wanted it to be 1 year to see how much I could possibly invest. And it was a lot more than I ever intended at the beginning of the year. My goal at the beginning of the year was $30,000. Then I think sometime around April, I realized I could do $40,000. Then a month or two ago, I was like, wow, I am easily going to be able to invest $50,000. And that, while that is great, it's also come at the cost of putting more money into the present and making memories now and being more generous with my money. I feel this gross feeling like I'm kind of not super like on purpose consciously taking advantage of other people, but I feel this gross like, if my mom and I go and run errands together and we use her car and I don't need to use my own gas, it's like I get kind of a satisfaction out of that, like seeing how far I can push my own tank of gas and not have to fill up and not have to spend that money. And then when I do have to spend that money sooner than what I was anticipating, I kind of get a little bit anxious about that. And I don't like that. I need to break free from that because it's ridiculous and I can absolutely afford to, fill up my tank twice if I need to. And especially now that I'm in a relationship with my boyfriend, I mentioned in previous videos that he lives about 45 minutes away. So we have to drive back and forth a bit to visit each other. And of course, use a car to go out and do things together. And it was the same thing with him where I would get this little feeling. It wasn't like an overwhelming feeling, but just the fact that I would feel a little bit kind of anxious about spending my own gas money to go visit him. It was just ridiculous to me. Like, I don't want to feel that. And it's purely because I've been budgeting so frugally this whole year and just seeing like how little I could possibly live on, that now my priorities have changed and I've resisted increasing my budget to allow for those priorities. So what I need to do moving forward is readjust my budget to align with my priorities now, which is I would like to allow more fun money for myself and of course for my boyfriend to spend time with him. And I would also like to allow more money to be generous, whether that's with my boyfriend or with my parents especially. I want to allow myself to be more free with my money, because there was a beautiful, blissful time before I discovered budgeting and the world of personal finance where I felt so abundant in my money and I felt like I could buy anything, to an extent, obviously, but I felt I was so much more generous with my money. Like, if I wanted to spend time with someone and money was a constraint for them, I was like, no problem. I'll do it. I'll pick you up. I'll pay for it. And that was important to me. And I really miss that feeling of not having to check my bank account or like not having to think about finances. And yes, that wasn't the most responsible thing of me before because I wasn't investing, I wasn't saving as much as I should have been. But I think I can still achieve that feeling now and prioritize spending money in a more free way like that now while still hitting my goals. And how I'm going to do that is I'm still going to invest $50,000 this year, but I think I'm going to just go ahead and cap it at 50,000. I think I could have hit maybe like 55,000 by the end of the year, depending, but I think I'm going to go ahead and cap it at 50,000. And that means I have 10,500 left to assign to investing, which I'm going to do about $4,500 this month. This is a 5-week month for me as far as paychecks. So I'm going to go ahead and split up this $10,500 that I have left of this $50,000 goal. I'm going to do $4,500 this month, and then that leaves $6,000 between October and November. And I would like to hit this $50,000 goal by the last week of November. And then come December, that's also a 5-week month for me as far as paychecks, plus a December bonus. And I would like to decide at that point what I want to do with that extra money. I may end up saving some of it to go ahead and like max out my HSA January 1st, or what I really want to do is, since the plan for me now is to stay living with my parents, I have this apartment fund down here that I saved $6,000 to pay first and last month's rent, security deposit, any moving fees, anything like that, buying furniture. Now that I'm not going to be moving out on my own, I think I just want to save like half of this for future move out, when I eventually want to move someplace with my boyfriend. But I think I want to go ahead and take half of this and do something really special for my parents, whether that's with or without me. And I was thinking maybe, I could send them on a cruise or a really nice vacation for $3,000 or a couple vacations, or I don't know. I just want to pay them back for their generosity because I'm only in the place that I am today because of them. They minimally have saved me minimum $20,000 a year of living expenses. Like, I have not had to pay rent, utilities. I've saved at least half of what I would have spent on groceries with them because they are very generous and I basically get free dinners with them. And they've just saved me so much money. I carpool with my mom all the time. And I just, yes, they love doing that for me. But again, it's like I feel this kind of gross feeling like I've been just not as generous with my money as I want to be. So yeah, if you have any ideas, I'm kind of leaning towards a cruise, and maybe in December that will be my Christmas present to them, is like, hey, here's the budget, $3,000. I'd like to send you on a cruise. Tell me what cruise you want to go on and we'll do it, But if you have other ideas of what I could do with that money to pay them back, essentially, let me know. So yeah, that's kind of my plan. I'm going to be making some changes to my budget here. So let's go ahead and start budgeting and we can talk more about this. So for now, at the beginning of the month, I like to put all my ready to assign in this holding category so that I can budget out my beginning of the month expenses. Everything I like to budget for at the beginning of the month, I like to budget with the money that I had set aside in my month ahead fund, if that makes any sense. So we're gonna go ahead and just fund all of these. I'm gonna make some changes to some of these categories, but for now, we'll go ahead and assign all of those. And I need to make sure, okay, yes, I already paid for Google storage. YouTube Premium, December 2nd. We will take care of that in December. But anyway, so we'll go ahead and fix this with my next month fund. And then I'm gonna make, let's see, what's the easy way to do this? Maybe we'll go ahead and budget this out first before I make my changes. Okay, so I need to cover what I already transferred for my solo 401k. It's kind of a random number, but this is what was needed to max out the employee side of my solo 401k for the year, which was $23,000. So that's all I had left to invest. So that's super exciting. So I went ahead and made that transfer. So we'll go ahead and cover this overspending with ready to assign. And then I always set aside $275 for my quarterly taxes because I am a 1099 contractor, so I pay quarterly taxes. And then for my fund money, I need to assign $100, but this is actually one thing that I'm going to change to start living more in the present and allow myself to be spending more freely on myself and others. So I would like to actually change this to $150 per week. And I think I'd like to just go ahead and create a target for this. So last day of the month, I need to set aside another $150. I'm going to change this to weekly. Every Monday. So every Mondays are my paycheck days. So yes, $150 a week. And I would like to go ahead and fund that at the beginning of the month as well with my next month fund. So I will add that to my month ahead view in a second. And I'm going to be adding another category too, but I'm going to finish this out. Oh, so groceries is another thing that I would like to bump up because I've already spent $121 this month, and it's only the 4th today. So definitely want to bump this up because I've been spending more while I'm at my boyfriend's house, and we pay for groceries over there. We pay for groceries over at my house. And yes, I'm needing more. I'm not able to live as frugally as I was when I only had to feed myself. And I didn't care quite as much about what I ate, but now I do. So I'm going to edit this. Instead of $25 a week, I'm going to bump this up to $40 a week. And that means I need to assign $75 more for the month. And this may go up again, but we'll assess as this month goes by. And I'm going to hold off on increasing household as well. We'll just see how that goes. And yeah, that's good for the rest of these. And then for gas as well, I would like to go ahead and just edit this to allow for 2 fill-ups per month instead of just 1. I don't think I'm going to be filling up twice every month, but I just don't want to limit myself and have to roll with the punches or feel that feeling of trying to stretch a tank of gas just because I only budgeted for 1. I just want to go ahead and budget for 2. So we will go ahead and change that to $90 needed. And I'm going to go ahead and fill this up to 6,000. So that would be 181.12 to get that to a nice $6,000. I'll probably invest more. Well, maybe, we'll see, but just to get that to a pretty number now, because that's my main priority, is getting this car fund up to $12,000, and I'm halfway there, which is great. And then, so with the rest of this 301.46, I'm going to go ahead and put this in my next month fund because I'm about to assign more of this money. So the last category that I would like to make, and I think I'm going to do it, I think I'll put it in my fulfillment group. And what should we call this? I'll probably change the name, but for now, I'm going to call it Share the Wealth. And I would like to set aside $300 a month. And this category is going to be a category that I use to be generous with my money, whether that is with my boyfriend, my friends, probably mostly my parents. I would like to, if we go out to eat, I'd like to be able to cover the whole bill. Or when we go to the grocery store, my mom and I run errands all the time. I can just put everything on my card and tell her not to worry to pay me back. I want to be more generous with my loved ones, and just living more in the present and sharing the money that I have been able to accumulate from my parents' generosity and kindness. I just want to start paying them back a little bit more. And that's that. So another change that I would like to make is I think I want to go ahead and start budgeting more on a monthly basis, especially because, I realize that I haven't had as much time to sit down and budget on camera weekly. And I do like to share my budgets on camera with you guys, but it's just kind of unsustainable to let these things, to let these overspendings accumulate, you know, just to share it on camera. And it's also nice just to have all of this money up front and be able to spend it more sporadically throughout the month and not have to wait for more money to accumulate. Yeah, I would just like to see how that feels. So what I need to do is actually add those new categories to my month ahead. So that's going to be the share the wealth, and then also my allowance. We're going to go ahead and fund that at the beginning of the month as well. And that should be, yeah, that's everything. And then we can go ahead and select all of these again. And that is going to add the $75 more for groceries, the $600 of fund money, and my $300 to share the wealth. And I don't know if this $300 will necessarily go every month, but if it rolls over month to month, that's great. I can, you know, add any leftover to the cruise fund or to buying more gifts for people or, you know, celebrating Christmas, whatever. This money is going to be more like I'm going to be spending out of whatever category I spent the money from. Like if I chip in for my mom's groceries or whatever, like I'm going to spend that money from the grocery category, but I will fund the money from the share the wealth fund. I'm not going to be spending it from these, just like I don't spend my allowance from my allowance category. They're just holding categories, if that makes sense. So we will go ahead and fund the rest of that. And then again, we can fix this with my next month fund. And then I will just be having to put most of my future paychecks this month back into this category. And yeah, let's go ahead and fix this overspending too from my allowance. Okay, and then I guess we'll have to snooze this target too. Oh, why can't I snooze it? It is September. I don't know why I can't snooze that, but so yeah, I'm really happy and excited for those changes. And I'm not sure how often I will be popping on camera. I at least want to do monthly budgeting videos like this, maybe bi-monthly check-ins, because I will still have to budget out weekly for like my taxes. I could add these to my month ahead savings and just dump all of my future paychecks into my next month fund, but we'll see. I might have more to talk about in future weeks, but I'm not sure. I think I want to go ahead and just start doing things more on a monthly basis like this to allow myself more freedom in the month and not have to feel pressured to save all of my budgeting for on camera. Even though I really like talking to you guys, it's clear that right now I don't have the time for it, but I will definitely still be here. It's still a priority. I am still going to do a monthly expenses report for sure and checking in on my financial goals. But yeah, I need to make this change and I am excited to see how it goes. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much if you made it this far to the video. Also, thank you to all of my new subscribers. I got a lot of subscribers from my last budget with me video where I was announcing the fact that I was in a new relationship. For some reason that video kind of popped off and I got a lot of new subscribers. So welcome to you guys. Thank you for subscribing. And I will catch you guys in the next one, which will definitely be my August income and expense report. So, yeah, thank you so much for watching. All right, bye guys.